Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Damontae bringing you a banger. Don't forget to go follow on my Twitch, please. Here you will never miss out on daily Payday content. The Burglar AR build, and the perk deck abilities look like this. Sneaky, which gives you a 20% increase to your dodge value. Next, Standing Still and Crouching gives you a less likely target percentage of 10%. The Luck of the Irish, you get another 5% dodge increase, while also getting another 5% less likely targeted increase. Dutch Courage gives you another 5% dodge, which totals you to 30% passive dodge, and then you get another 5% less likely targeted, which gives you now a total of 20% less likely targeted naturally to the perk. Breath of Fresh Air. Standing Still and Crouching increases your armory recovery rate by 20%, and you also get a 10% crouch movement speed. This build uses an AR and a secondary pistol, pairing together to effectively handle all ranges of damage. With the primary rifle I have being the Lion's Roar, it has high accuracy, very high stability, while it's also pairing it with really good damage output, alongside of its fire rate. We pair full crits inside this build to allow us to push out as much damage as we can from any range. We also bring body expertise so that when we are in a closer ranged engagement, we're able to kill off groups effectively. The secondary I use here in this build is the 5.7 pistol, and it's mostly for shields. It does come in handy for busting your dozer's faceplate through a wall and saving your HP from getting damaged, but generally the 5.7 is just a solid weapon. It just lacks an ammo pickup, and it's mostly a tool that's used in the sense of just shields. This setup promotes the running around and shooting. You are capable of moving from different areas of the map and effectively aiming at the comps that are targeting you, and positioning correctly will effectively help you survive. Lastly, we do bring first aid kits into this build for the aggressive healing form, so when I'm pushing across the map and running all over the place, if I am to get shot and if I'm hit, I can heal myself up and just keep moving. It's not really, big issue essentially. We also have Hostage Taker paired with it. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. I grabbed things like Combat Medic, Quick Fix, and Uppers for the instantaneous HP regen. I do grab myself a HP buff with Partners in Crime, and getting myself Hostage Taker for another form of HP regen. I'm grabbing things like Stable Shot and Rifleman, while also grabbing things like Shock and Awe and Resilience to pair with my perk deck's ability of Standing Still to regen my armor. These two will also be in effect during that situation. I also grab things like Bullseye for the other form of armor regen, grabbing things like Fire Control for the accuracy increase to the hip fire, while also getting stability increases. Next, I'm grabbing things like, Sprinting Dodge and Sneaky Bastard so that my build actually gets 55% dodge at its max, rather than having a lower percentage. I do grab things like full crits while also grabbing myself concealment skills. Now moving on to the weapons here, the Lion's Roar has 80 damage in this threshold, and it's one of the few guns that are like this. I personally went for the CQB, which is giving me concealment. Next I go for the bigger the better for accuracy and stability. As for the boost, concealment. We go for the compact laser for no change. Technically you could throw a secondary sight on here, that's if you want. I personally go for the Seymour sight, it's personal preference. And as for the 5.7 here, I do grab the 10 treated barrel for accuracy stability. Inside the suppressors, I'm using the, not too sure how to pronounce it, suppressor? Mostly just for concealment and stability reasons. For the boost, we're using a concealment increase. For the gadget, a micro laser. As for the magazine, we're using the extended mag. And technically you could throw a sight on here, the concealment sight, but it's if you want to. Now, here is some tips for the build. When playing pretty much any setup, you can hide and break visual contact with the cops. Wait exactly 4 seconds, then peek. This will stop them from targeting you, because that's just the way the targeting system is working. I can't tell you how many times in my just normal gameplay, in my normal play style, that I always incorporate this waiting 4 seconds time period. I always try to do this so that I can stop things from targeting me, breaking lines of sight, breaking the targeting system, so therefore I have the ability to do what I want, not the game to grace me or whatever you want to call it in this scenario. You can get upwards of 55% less likely targeting inside of this build. This is really strong when considering that your perk deck brings dodge and armor regen. These two things put together is very strong. The targeting system allows the player to almost move freely on the map. One downfall to the way that this perk deck is played is that the way the less likely targeting is triggered. It is triggered when you are standing still and crouched. This can make it difficult for players in certain situations where you're moving and let's say that, that's getting you targeted in this scenario, because if you're not moving and you're crouching, you'll be less likely targeted. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen either. Just like you would play a rogue, you want to produce a lot of damage output for the less likely targeting system. If you are not being targeted, this will allow you to be able to deal more consistent damage or be able to fight certain enemies that the teammates might not be able to because they're getting targeted. This scenario really plays out in Burglar and Rogue, and then if you look at it on the flip side, if you're Muscle on the other hand, you can be providing this to your teammates, any of your teammates. It's not just the Rogue or the Burglar in this scenario. If you have a Muscle on the field, he is going to allow you guys to be less likely targeted because he is the one more likely targeted. So in that scenario, the Muscle relies on its teammates to kill things in that, form, while the Rogue and the Burglar are doing that for their teammates because of their ability. And then lastly, positioning, exposure are two important factors to the way that you're surviving the missions. Whilst positioning is key, target priority on the enemies that are shooting you is a better option than trying to take out every cop, trying to horde kill the spawning zone, or just running into areas where just the cops are. You don't need to do this. Actually, the better way of playing the game is leaving some enemies on the map, so therefore their reaction timer is slowed. And if you're killing off as many cops as you can and clearing the map out, you're going to up that reaction timer, making it quicker that the cops are hitting you. So in this scenario, it's trying to kill things that you need to be killing rather than just killing everything. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do sincerely appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the weekly build series, and if you do, hit me with a like, a subscribe to me if you're new here. We don't normally focus what is considered to be meta here on my YouTube. We tend to do things a little bit more creative. If you guys are interested inside the weekly build videos, you come over here to my YouTube and you go into the second section here. We'll have a full playlist with all the build videos for the weekly builds.